how to wash a large vehicle that happens to be black paint.
Hi, I'm Ivan.
I'm Nick.
And this is DIY Detail. We're going to demystify is it more difficult to wash black? No, it isn't. How do I get to the roof of my big SUV? We're going to find that out. If you stay around long enough, you'll also see us polish it and coat it. That's going to be in another video.
We are doing everything to this vehicle that you want to know about, Ivan. Let's get started, let's educate, let's demonstrate.
First thing, cleaning the wheels. We have all clean diluted 15:1 with just a touch of Incredible Suds.
All Clean happens to be our all-purpose cleaner. It comes in a gallon form as a concentrate. It comes in a 16-ounce bottle ready to use. If you're using it like Ivan, you're using it because you got it in the concentrate. Ivan, as you lay down the All Clean here,
yep.
What's the difference between using it out of the concentrate versus getting it in the ready-to-use bottle?
Well, the ready-to-use bottle, I like to think of it as a test sample, a teaser. But if you're gonna buy it, buy the gallon. The gallon is a concentrate, so you get 16 gallons out of 1 gallon of ready-to-use product. Whereas the 16-ounce bottle, it's ready to use as is.
Yeah, you can just see the dwell time, the cling. We're doing this on either lower panels, on bug guts, on wheels and tires. All-purpose cleaner is all of that for you. And as I've mentioned, that 1 gallon will actually get you so many other gallons of ready-to-use product.
Now that that's there, time to put the rinseless wash on the surface. We have 2 ways of doing it. You've seen us use a keg. Nick, you can use the keg.
Yep.
And for those of you that can't afford a keg or don't want to buy a keg because of the space it takes up, there's other options as well. I've got a little battery operated one here. Does a great job. Now, it's not as efficient, not as quick as the keg.
Ivan, we so often use foam in the studio. Incredible Suds looks fantastic, smells fantastic, happens to be so much fun to use.
Yeah.
But if we follow our principles with rinseless wash, where we put it on the surface, flush it away with free-flowing water, apply it again, and then do the contact wash, you've maintained that it is equally effective to Incredible Suds?
As effective, as safe, and a little faster sometimes.
But is it as fun? Where are my foam people at? Write in the comments below. What's your preferred method? Rinseless or Incredible Suds? Ivan, with soap, with Incredible Suds, I can see it on the surface.
Yes.
I can't really see anything happening here. How do I believe that this is in fact an effective way of cleaning?
Well, the rinseless wash, no, you can't see what it's doing, but when we rinse it off, it'll be very clear that it's done its job.
And what do you have in your hand here?
A little battery-powered sprayer. It's not as efficient as the keg, but it does get the product on and does a good job. Next step, rinsing it off. Starting with the roof.
As you do that, Ivan, people are gonna ask, what's the best ladder? I see it in your videos. What ladder or step stool do you recommend? Because we want you to be using these and not using the wheel to climb up.
Right, this is a Werner, there's Gorilla. Find one that fits your needs and go from there. We also have little step ladders. They work pretty good too. Once the roof is done, you can do the rest.
We say it over and over again on the channel. It's a time-tested and proven method. Foam, rinseless, rinse, rinseless, or chemical, rinse, chemical.
Yeah.
I put the foam back on the wheels and tires, Ivan. I'm now applying the rinseless wash. You can go right behind me and start with the contact wash, unless you want to start with the wheels. And I guess a lot of folks may wonder which one to start with.
Well, I'm gonna start with the wheels while the foam is still active and the foam is still there. Our wheel and body brush.
Ivan, do you get intimidated when you get a big vehicle like this, knowing it's gonna take forever to wash?
Doesn't take that much longer, just a little more real estate. Nothing to be intimidated about, nothing to be stressed about.
Any wheel cleaning tips while we've got you on camera over there, Ivan? The folks always love to hear your wisdom.
Always start from the outside in. So I'm starting at noon, going around, doing the face of the wheel first. That way, when I'm doing the barrels, if I grab anything or bring anything out to the surface, I've already cleaned the surface and it'll rinse away cleanly. I'm not worried about scratching the surface then.
Are barrels a must clean when detailing, Ivan?
Not a must clean, but if they're like these wheels, that they're pretty much already clean, yeah, it's worth the effort. If the customer has abused the wheels and never cleaned them in the last 10 years, then maybe it's not worth the effort.
I'm told by a friend of the channel who brought this in, it's his mother-in-law's Cadillac, and she hand washes it once a week. Not only is someone hand washing a giant Escalade, but I love that it's not just guys out there, right? It doesn't mean this is just a guy's industry. It seems like a predominantly male industry. Everyone loves a clean car.
They do, and it's something that anyone can do.
It's definitely not rocket science.
Not at all.
Although, sometimes we want it to sound like it is, so we feel important.
Now, the goal is to simplify it, not make it seem more complicated than it is. I have rinse this wash at 250 to 6 to 1 in my bucket. I have my legacy sponge. I'm going to start on the roof and work my way down. When using a rinse this wash, first of all, you don't want your sponge soaking wet, just on the verge of dripping. And no pressure on the sponge. Let it do the work for you. We're just gliding it across the surface. Again, no pressure, making sure to get in everywhere. Also, with the sponge, I don't need to go down to the bottom of the bucket and hit the grit guard. I never get water inside my gloves. Just needs to go to the surface, squeeze it out, go to the next one. Now, you may notice that your bucket, the liquid in it starts to get a little dirty. That's fine. The sponge always comes out clean. That's the way it's designed to work. So don't stress about it. Don't overthink it.
But Ivan, people love to overthink. That's part of detailing's allure.
It's a competitive sport in detailing, I know, but try not to compete.
It can be tempting to whiz around the car super fast, missing spots left and right, but moving in a quick manner. You're a slow but methodical guy. Talk about your step-by-step, get it done while you're there and move on kind of process.
Right, that way you don't miss anything. If you're doing this and all over the place, you're not gonna get it done. Just nicely, easily, slowly move the sponge over the surface, no stress. Detailing should be fun and relaxing, not stressful. You can see what's happening here. It's gathering up the dirt, gathering up what's on the surface.
Ivan, it's a lot easier to see when you've got white paint.
Yeah.
You do one panel with black, and then sometimes the water beads on the surface are kind of brown. You're like, okay, I'll flip to the red side, and I'll do the same panel twice with my sponge and redunk. How do you know whether to do one side and then the other on a panel versus I'm just gonna do my red on the panel, boom, black on the next panel, dunk and move on?
Even on a black vehicle, you can see it, Nick. Now on camera, probably not. But this vehicle is nice and clean already. It wasn't, had a bit of mud on it, but nothing extreme. And like you said, this is washed weekly. So there's not a stress of having 6 months worth of accumulation of dirt on it.
For those out there who find detailing rewarding, but also kind of stressful, any words of advice on making it less stressful, right? Like actually making it as relaxing as Ivan LaCroix makes it look.
Well, reduce the number of products that you use. Reduce the stress points and enjoy it. Don't be rushed. If you take it as a relaxation, it will actually take you less time. And being prepared as well. So having everything you need close by so you're not running back and forth, trying trying to figure out how to get it done. You have everything you need, prepare it beforehand, and you're good to go. Now, this vehicle, we're going to be polishing and coating it, so we need to decontaminate as we're washing. In this case, if we were just doing a wash, at this point, we take our drying towel, we dry the surface, and we're done. It's just that easy. But now we're going to decontaminate. To do so, I'm using iron remover and our perforated synthetic decontamination towel. One spray on the panel, one spray on the towel, match them up. I have the lubrication of the rinseless wash on the surface, plus the lubrication of the iron remover. We can hear a bit of grittiness on this. That goes to show you, even if you wash your car weekly, contamination does build up.
Well, I can feel it under my sponge. That's why I was asking. I'm like, I can't see it, Ivan, but I can feel the grittiness. So I'm like, does grittiness equate to the double side of the sponge per panel method?
No, the grit is just there. It's not dirt that's floating up. It's bonded. We call them bonded contaminants for a reason. They're well bonded to the paint.
And that's why we're using the decontamination towel.
Yeah. So I flip my towel to the other side. And while you have your towel in your hand, always do the windows. Makes cleaning them so much easier. You know, one other thing, Nick, that reduces stress levels is following a recipe. We have a recipe. We lay it out in all these videos. And one thing that really helps is don't overuse the products. Using less will make you happier.
It took me a long time to learn that lesson, folks. It was not one that came naturally. To me, it seems like more is better, right? More chocolate is better than less chocolate. More money is better than less money. More product is better than less product. I don't know, Ivan. More love is better than less love, I guess.
Yes.
You know, like, how could more be wrong?
It's not wrong, Nick. We have more quality in our products, but you don't need to use more quantity. So instead of more product, have more fun.
So you're still getting more with less. No, seriously, the higher quality product, we are surrounded by low quality things in our lives. Even at the grocery store, you might opt for the least expensive dishwashing soap and wonder why you're getting water spots. I don't know.
Yeah.
There is such a thing to like higher quality. You don't need to use as much.
Right. And speaking of more or less, I have no pressure on my decontamination towel, and that's the way it works the best. Now, if you have a surface that's really badly contaminated, do a pass or two and let it sit. Let the chemical do the job and come back to it.
Boy, this back windshield is very rough, Ivan.
Yeah.
Why is back glass in need of a clay, as they say?
Well, this vehicle lives on a dirt road, so there's a lot of stuff that gets accumulated on there. Always decontaminate your windows. Makes cleaning them so much easier.
Ivan, I've talked to a couple of detailers who, you know, they make money. They're very efficient with the steps they take, and they don't always clay cars before they polish. So could you get away with no decontamination, with no towel, no iron remover, and then just polish the paint?
If you want to give yourself more work, yes. It's actually faster to do this than to try to polish it. And when you're just polishing over top of contamination, you can actually drive the contamination deeper into the paint, as well as you can cause marring and micro scratches on the surface because of that contamination that your polishing pad picks up. Best to remove it first.
So if the iron remover is starting to dry, or the rinseless wash is starting to dry before I put iron remover on, like, what are some tips out there, Ivan?
So before you do the iron remover, if your rinseless wash is dried, add a little more rinseless wash to the surface. You've got your sprayer, use it. Now, we can see here the iron remover has dried on the surface. That's not a concern. It'll rinse cleanly away without an issue.
getting this front bumper, and I'm looking for any bugs that might be here. RIP to the bugs, you know, they had a good life. They often will end themselves along the front bumper. Now you can see this little black bug here. It may just come off with my finger, which it did. It's an interesting test, but if it didn't come off there, the decon towel does a nice job. If the bug is a little bit less intact, and it might just be the bug remains, it'll slide right off on the decon towel. If I'm worried, I'll flip sides, and if I'm really concerned, if I've used this for all 4 sides, I'll dunk it back in the bucket, shake it out, and then make sure I got a clean side. Of course, I have rinseless as my lubrication. I'm not just doing this on dry paint. And just making sure every little spot that could have some bug guts gets a little exfoliation. There could be etched parts of this where the bug gut was there for too long and it's actually etched the paint. I'm not concerned about it at this point. I'm just doing my job. I'm hitting every piece of real estate. And we'll come back in the polishing step to reevaluate that paint.
With the 2 rails on the roof, it's very easy for me to rinse just the roof and make sure I'm going from front to back or back to front. That doesn't matter, but now I've rinsed all the way to the front. I can rinse this off, do the hood, and then go to the other side. So a couple of glancing sprays of water spot remover is all we need. We don't need to douse the surface with it. We just need to make sure it's on the surface, because we'll be using a rinseless dampened towel to spray it around. Nick, I'll let you get the roof.
Okay. So after the iron remover, we do water spot remover. We are spraying it everywhere, and then we're gonna rub it in or agitate it in with a rinseless wash dampened towel, Ivan LaCroix. Let's talk about that process.
Yeah, so you want your towel not to be wet, you just want it to be damp. So basically, fold it as you would in 4, roll it a little bit, give it a good squeeze, wring it out. Then we're ready to agitate. We're not applying pressure. We're not trying to rub it in. All we're doing is spreading it. I'm only going to be using one side of the towel. That way I'm not absorbing it off the surface. I'm spreading the water spot remover over the surface.
Can you explain the mineral cleanse again? Like, why is it so important before polishing and ceramic coating?
It's extremely important to get those minerals off the surface and allow the polish to work on paint, not to be working on minerals. And if you do have water spots on the vehicle, you want definitely to do this first, and then you can polish. Polishing alone will not remove the etching from water spots.
Any concerns? This is in my rinseless wash bucket. My iron remover soaked decon towel was also in that bucket first. Are we cross-contaminating? Is the world gonna end? Is my paint gonna get damaged in any way, Ivan?
No, actually, we don't want to put this towel back in our rinseless wash bucket because of the slight acidic nature to it.
But we originally dumped it in the bucket with iron remover in there, which means there's gotta be some iron remover in this towel, Ivan, and everything is confusing in my head. We don't have a perfectly sterile environment. Should I throw everything away and start over?
Not a concern.
Okay. I'm being sarcastic. It's just, after water spot remover, we do wanna segregate the towel.
Yeah.
But before, it's like, this is the overthinking competitive sport you talked about, right?
Yeah.
We don't want to compete. I used to be a hater of the step ladder, Ivan. Now I think it's the best way to do it. I could be getting old or just wiser.
Combination of both.
Who really wants to be stepping on wheels? You know there's some risk involved there. Have you heard of any incidents where people just climbed on cars and it didn't end well?
Yeah, many. Now we're not concerned at this point about scratching the surface by going top to bottom or bottom to top. It really doesn't make a difference. We've washed it, we've decontaminated with the towel and the iron remover. All we're going after now is minerals, and the surface at this point should be very clean.
You're combining the agitation with hopefully the full coverage of the misting with the water spot remover. The whole idea here is we build in layers of redundancy to make sure this water spot remover has a chance to do what it's designed to do.
Yeah.
Cleanse the paint of minerals that will get in the way of the polishing and the ceramic coating. If you're like us, it doesn't mean you're crazy. It just means you like to do the job right. You want to know, if I'm putting the effort and the time and the money into getting all this stuff and doing it, I want to make sure I did it the best way possible.
Exactly.
Just so that this stuff lasts, right?
Yep.
No pressure on the towel, right, Ivan?
Correct. Pressure is never our friend in detailing.
Boy, my pride says I don't need a ladder for the middle widow's peak area of that hood, but reality's telling me otherwise. Or a long-armed, 6-foot man who can take care of it. All right. I didn't want to be seen doing one of these numbers on camera, but if that's okay.
Yeah. And now, how much liquid did we accumulate off the surface? There was water left over, plus the iron remover. So you can see, we helped dry the surface at the same time, but we still need to rinse one more time. For this, we are not going to put it back in our rinse and swash bucket. We're gonna take a garden hose, whatever, and simply rinse it out with fresh running water. We have a bucket for these to soak in till laundry day. Time for the final rinse. Starting with the roof, working our way down. Before I put the pressure washer away, one last little thing. Quick beads on the wheels. That way they'll be easier to dry and protected.
Why not ceramic coat the wheels, Ivan? We got a comment on our YouTube or one of our channels recently that said, I never see all ceramic coat wheels.
Well, we actually do ceramic coat wheels. We have a couple videos. We'll link one down below. But in this case, they're a used wheel. I prefer to ceramic coat brand new wheels. Plus, Quick Beads does such a great job.
Ivan, are we finally ready to dry?
Yes, we are.
Thank you, sir.
Now, we're not using a drying aid because we are going to be polishing and coating this vehicle.
So is it safe to dry without a drying aid?
It's safe to dry when you're using a quality towel, but it's actually easier to dry with a drying aid.
Yeah, as you've mentioned, and I've mentioned, viewer of the channel, friend of the channel, they use, I believe, ceramic gloss after every weekly wash. So
Yeah.
you saw a lot of water beading, especially snapping back there after the water spot remover. This paint's pretty smooth. I think it's gonna look phenomenal after we polish and coat it.
Yeah.
What are you doing when you're drying, Ivan? What are you thinking about? How do you safely dry? How do you efficiently dry?
No pressure. Take your time, let the towel absorb for you. So moving fast doesn't necessarily mean fast drying. And be methodical, work from the top down. And this paint really is slick. Wow.
Well, the towel flew off. I don't think I've ever seen that before. One secret to efficient drying is to use what we call the Drip Catcher 4000, I believe is its official name. Maybe I just made that up. It's the Drip Catcher towel. 2 magnets on it, very plush. I just tuck it in right at bedtime. At least I have one spot that's not gonna drip. And when it does, it has a place to go. The rest of this paint, I imagine there will be drips galore, Ivan, but boy, is that mirror drip the most annoying thing in the world or what?
It sure is.
When it comes to detailing, annoying. You have to have perspective on it, of course. Always anchoring my towel with one hand and then using it like that with the other. If you don't anchor it, it has a tendency to hit the ground, and you don't want that to happen with your nice towels.
You don't want it hitting the ground, nor the wheels.
Nor the wheels, exactly. That's why that anchor hand is so important. Again, you may just be doing this without thinking about it. Ivan has changed the way that I detail in terms of being more methodical. I got great results before. It did take me a long time. I would miss spots that I'd have to address later on. Being methodical is actually, I don't know, I'd say like more fun once you fully buy in. My method was a little more Tasmanian devil before, Ivan.
Yeah, you're all over the place.
Moved quickly, all over the place.
Moved quickly, but it actually took you more time to do the job. Now that it's clean, we see that the paint is in remarkably good shape, which is excellent. A testament to hand washing every week as opposed to driving through a car wash. There's no little sticker on the windshield saying you can drive me through a car wash whenever you want. That's a great thing. We're gonna be polishing this vehicle and coating it in a future video. But in the meantime, Nick, is there a video they should be watching?
Yes, it's how to not only wash, but protect your paint in I think 21 minutes?
Something like that.
Yeah, and decontaminate too. Check it out.